This is your DM guide for the towns of Caer Dineval and Caer Konig, and their quests, Black Swords and the Unseen, which are both really crucial for transitioning your party from the scattered events of chapters 1 and 2 to the duergar subplot of chapters 3 and 4 in Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frostmaiden. Hey, Bob here, and welcome to Bob World Builder, where we learn how to have more fun playing D&D together. So hit that subscribe button for new videos every Wednesday under your subscriptions tab. And if you want one-page, easy-to-reference PDF guides for each of these videos, check out my Patreon linked below, where generous supporters get a bunch of bonus content each month and access to our Discord server to talk about even more tips for this campaign. Caer Dineval was founded over 400 years ago by the Dinev family from Cormyr, whose small castle was quickly sieged by orcs and later retaken by other human settlers who eventually established a town around the lakeside castle. Though recently, the town has been difficult to visit since the ferry from East Haven was discontinued, so besides the neighboring town of Caer Konig, 2 hours north, all other towns are over 8 hours away. Caer Dineval's 100 residents are friendly, but the place isn't very comfortable. Their speaker has been quote-unquote ill for a few months, locked away in the castle, their home, which is represented on the crest along with a fish to symbolize the town's main industry. Much like the ramshackle inn of Lonelywood, Dinev's Rest has been closed for a while, almost a year in fact. This abandoned building is home to 6 duergar quietly waiting until the Charlin dragon lays waste to the town. But to make it a bit more interesting, you can surround Dinev's Rest with rumors of a ghost, just like we said for Lonelywood's unrestful former owner. But these rumors were sparked by the sounds of duergar creeping around inside. If your party investigates, have the duergar hiding in a cellar with a DC 15 investigation check to find the trapdoor under an old rug. And just use 1 or 2 duergar if you only have 1 player. On the main floor, your party can find a map with marked locations here, in Caer Konig, in East Haven, near Kelvin's Cairn, and in the mountains, signifying the duergar outposts throughout Icewind Dale. With no room at the inn, your party may seek lodging at the Uphill Climb Tavern near the Caer, but the rugged human keeper will claim no vacancy and suggest those bold-looking adventurers try the castle. He and everyone else in Caer Dineval knows there's evil afoot, but they don't know who they can trust, so they won't tell the party outright, and I suggest allowing a passive insight check of DC 13 to notice his uneasy hinting that something is amiss in the castle. In fact, the Caer has been completely overtaken by worshippers of the archdevil Levistus, calling themselves the Knights of the Black Sword, and keeping Speaker Kranich as their prisoner. Most of the cultists are people who nearly died in the harsh climate, but traded their soul for survival, and each wears a Charlin talisman. These talismans are cursed, and player characters who take one have a chance of turning lawful evil each dawn. This actually happened to my fiance's character, so she's going to get some orders from Levistus pretty soon, which is really just a great way to get the party to go after the duergar. Levistus knows of the duergar plot and has informed the cult, just not that the archdevil Asmodeus is behind it. Still, one of the cult's leaders, a blind medium named Hethel, has convinced the others to ally with anyone who opposes the duergar, including random adventurers. Specifically, Levistus has instructed the cultists to form such an alliance if one of the characters has the runaway author's secret, or if they've done anything to thwart the duergar thus far. Otherwise, the cultists will turn away any and all visitors, so the party will have to sneak in or charm one of the cultists. The gatehouse has 2 portcullises, heavy doors, and 2 cult fanatics standing guard on the wall. Hugh Mulfoon, the missing young man from Bremen, and Fel Supara, a tiefling lieutenant of the tiefling leader, Kadroth, and Hugh's best friend and mentor among the cult. These 2 should be very protective of each other, and neither will want Hugh to return to his heartbroken mother in Bremen. The courtyard contains an empty outhouse, which should not be empty, and a noisy dog kennel with 6 friendly pups, 1 sled, and an impressionable kennel boy who can give information, much like the tiefling servant boy cleaning the Great Hall. You could have these boys genuinely welcome the party as potential rescuers, or be totally brainwashed and try to deceive your characters. The 4 guard towers each contain 3 resting cultists on the main floor and stairs to the upper floor with arrow slits. So I would equip these cultists with bows from the armory, because scimitars are not very effective range weapons, or keep them poorly armed for small parties and solo players. Note, the northwest tower also has a trapdoor to the basement and a secret door to the speaker's office, where Kadroth sits quietly, staring into the fire, divining the cult's next move. The adjacent speaker's den contains my party's favorite bumbling, cowardly cultist, Thub, awaiting orders from Kadroth, but I had them run into Thub as soon as they snuck in, and he hurried them to Hethel's room, because she knew they were coming, and instead of telling them all the details of the duergar plot as written, I used this dark prophecy to keep the coming destruction more mysterious, and I led with a little prophecy about one of my characters' backstories. Also, to maintain the tone, I omitted the scene in the speaker's bedroom where he's just taking a poop as your PCs arrive. Yeah, apparently the former library has been completely unused for hundreds of years, but it could totally contain a book or two to launch your party into a one-shot from Candlekeep Mysteries. And the basement contains a bunch of bodies, a shrine to Levistus with dangerous mold, another tiefling who belongs to the Arcane Brotherhood and who we'll talk much more about in the latter chapters, and 5 servants planning a prison break. Remember, you don't have to plan an encounter for every room in a big dungeon like this. Pick a few favorites, take some notes, and like and subscribe if you're finding this video useful. It really helps more people find this series, making it an easy way for you to help me and many people in the D&D community. Caer Konig's castle was never rebuilt after the orc sieges long ago, so their crest focuses on the fish. The town has much more to offer your party, though its 150 residents are described as bitter and angry, feeling that the other towns have abandoned them. And their dragonborn speaker, Trovis, is too drunk and too focused on the recent mysterious robberies to solve other problems. The robbery started 3 nights ago with a small sack of pearls going missing from Frozen Far Expeditions, an adventuring outfitter run by an aging human ranger who mostly stays inside and cares for their sled dogs, and a younger dwarven wilderness guide who can make a great sidekick for parties who need help traversing the tundra. Then, 2 nights ago, a pair of goats were stolen from the Hook, Line, and Sinker Tavern, run by a marketing master half-elf who gets shipments of ale from the Kelvin's Cairn dwarves. And just last night, a color-changing magic lantern, the very namesake of the Northern Light Inn, disappeared. You could have Trovis slur through this exposition as written, but I suggest deciding he's too forgetful, and instead having your party gather clues from local NPCs, like the 2 helpful Shorard sisters who own the inn, and tell your PCs that the only real clues are the sets of footprints going from the back of the inn toward Kelvin's Cairn. This trail fades quickly, but the next morning, a fresh set of dwarf boot prints will lead to a larger set that a character can determine to be ogre tracks with a DC 15 survival check. Then, these tracks have faded by the time your party treks within a mile of Kelvin's Cairn, so they must make a group survival check to find the entrance of the Thieves' Outpost, a snow-covered bunker carved into the mountain with a stone guardhouse. The outpost contains 5 duergar who have been turning invisible to sneak into town and look for Chardalyn. They're led by Nildar Sunblight, son of Zardarok Sunblight, who hangs in his quarters, Area 6, where your party may find a letter from his big brother, Dirth Sunblight, revealing their motives and his location in East Haven, and where they should find the stolen pearls and the magic lamp. But to really tie your story together, you can include a second letter from Ravisin the Frost Druid, who also wants to terrorize the people of 10 towns and could be working with these duergar. When spotted, Nildar and the others should attack your party by enlarging themselves immediately, turning invisible if necessary, and only providing information if captured and intimidated. The stolen goats and the ogre zombie should be running wild through the combat, and the 5 undead humanoid spore servants from Area 7 can too if your group is really up for a challenge. Now check out the PDFs of these town guides by joining Patreon like Samuel, Colin, Old Man Jeb, David, Rayab, Jay, Miniko, Tarek, and Anthony just did. Thank you all for your support, and keep building.